Hi, Michelle. My
Hi,
name
Marge.
is Marge Mercurio, and I'm with the Mead Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted to do a spotlight on your business.
Great.
And I guess first of all, I want to ask if you could tell me a little bit about your business. So first of all, what it's called.
My business is online jewelry. I've got two different websites. One is jewelryimpressions.com, and that one I have had for 13 years.
Okay.
And I have a new site called ourcustomweddingrings.com that I just started up less than a year ago.
Oh, great, great. Well, how did you get into this? I mean, it's. You said 13 years. I didn't even know people were on the internet 13 years ago.
It was very new back then. I've always had an interest in gemstones. I've always had an interest in jewelry. As a kid, I used to collect little quartz crystals and fossils and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Helped out in a jewelry store in college. And, about 13 years ago, after I left my corporate job, I was looking for something to do on my own. I received a card in the mail about joining a wholesale club, which was a little bit unusual back then. They're kind of a dime a dozen now, but
Right.
they were very unusual back then. I went to the seminar, and they had a great line of costume jewelry that I liked, and some watches. About 2 weeks later, I received another card in the mail that was about putting your product on the internet.
Wow.
I knew a little bit about the internet. That was back when it was AOL, Prodigy, CompuServe. I had done some research in my previous position. But I wanted to learn more. So I went to that seminar and never looked back.
Wow.
I've had the jewelry up online since 1997, and it's been a real blessing.
Wow. Well, you mentioned two different websites. Want to tell me what each of them has to offer?
Sure. Jewelry Impressions is a collection of all different types of designer jewelry. On that, I have collections of pearl jewelry, gemstone jewelry, gold, diamonds, silver. There's even a line of costume, which is the original line that I started out with. And I've since started moving more toward the finer pieces of jewelry. I also sell a fair amount of lab-grown gemstones, Chatham-created lab-grown gemstones. A lot of my customers tend to be green-minded and conflict-conscious, so they want Chatham gemstones because they just don't want something that came out of the ground. And that spawned the idea to create our custom wedding rings.
Oh, wow.
So our custom wedding rings is great, beautiful designer engagement rings with a twist of color. So they have colored stone centers. We can put a diamond in there if you'd like, but it's really geared toward people that want to save a little money with a colored gemstone, want something different. It's about their freedom of expression. You know, they don't want to follow the trend that everybody else does. And most of our rings come with lab-grown center stones already priced and ready to go. And that is for those people who are green-minded and conflict-conscious. But we can put any stone they want in it.
I'd never heard of lab-grown. Of course, I'm not familiar with it, but I had never heard of lab-grown. Do you have any of an example or?
I do have. I have one here that I pulled out to show you. It's a beautiful seafoam color. I don't know if you can see it very well or if the camera can see it, but it's a lab-grown seafoam colored garnet. And this was an experiment by Chatham to create a piece that looked similar to what's called a Paraiba tourmaline. And it ended up damaging the crucible that they grew it in. So they're never going to grow them again. Wow. But they're gorgeous pieces. We have a limited quantity of them. I actually stocked up for my own purposes. And so if anybody wants something extremely unique, that would be a great stone to put in an engagement ring, because they just won't be around for much longer.
The color is just so unique on this. It's like your shirt, but more brilliant.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's nice. So can anybody do this? I mean, do you have any credentials? I mean, is this a dime a dozen type of gig, or?
Well, there's a lot of people selling jewelry on the web. There weren't when I started, but there are now. When I started going moving more toward the finer jewelry, I decided that I really wanted to serve my customers the best by having credentials, by getting my graduate gemologist degree. And I wanted to be able to speak confidently about the pieces that I sell. There's a lot of companies out there where people are answering questions and they really don't have any training. So
Right.
I felt it was important. So I got my graduate gemologist degree about 5 years ago, and I love it. It's an interesting field to be in. I love to answer questions. I have a blog, gemologytidbits.com,
Great.
where people can just get little blurbs about gemstones that maybe they didn't know before. I'm also pretty active in the trade. I'm the president of the GIA Alumni Association here in Colorado, and the secretary of the Rocky Mountain Jewelers Association.
Great.
I'm also a member of the American Gem Trade Association, so I'm listed with the Jewelers Board of Trade. So I try to be very active in the trade, and so people feel confident. That's
Right.
the one thing that people tend to mention to me on the phone when we're talking and stuff is the word trust. They trust the company. They trust me as a person helping them with what they're looking for.
Right.
They trust the other people that work here, and so that's really great. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, I am educated. I do have my graduate gemologist degree, and am active in the trade. So
Well, and I think it's important too, the fact that somebody can pick up the phone, call you, hear your voice, hear you explain something. That is, to me, the big stores. You can't do that with the big stores, and with these online places, the fact that the number leads right to you. I just think that says a lot about your company.
thank you.
Yeah.
I do hear that a lot, actually. Yeah. There's a somewhat of a competitor out there that never answers their phone, and I get calls all the time, and the customer will say, "Hey, I've called XYZ company, they just don't answer the phone. I've emailed them, they've never returned my emails,
Wow.
and I actually feel bad if somebody sends an inquiry and I don't get back with them within a couple hours."
Right.
So I'm usually really good about getting back to people, and I think that's important.
I think so
You
too.
know.
And it ties in with trust.
It does tie in
If
with
somebody
trust.
doesn't answer the phone, if somebody doesn't respond, then if something goes bad with the jewelry, why would they be there to help you? The customer service wouldn't be there either. So
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, great. Is there one thing that you'd like your online people or people in the world to know about gems? I mean, one final word.
Well, I just think that gemstones are beautiful, and they're the perfect opportunity to allow a person to express themselves. And there is more of a trend now going toward people using gemstones as their center stones, because the generation coming up now is all about individuality.
Yeah.
They've got the tattoos and the piercings, and anything to be individual. And what better way than to pick a great gemstone that you love and put it in your engagement ring?
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, and I just love my job. I love what I do. I'm so blessed to have a great business and a wonderful base of customers, and it's really great.
Well, great. And I think they're probably glad to have you too.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this more than you can know.
All right, and I appreciate the chamber too.
Okay.
It's
Well,
great.
thank you so much. Take good care now.